everyone, I'm Gabriella of Pour La Victoire and welcome back to my channel and welcome to a new episode of Cooking in Costume. Today I'll be making a recipe from this cookbook, the Niall Cookbook, published in 1916 by the Boston Cooking School magazine. This cookbook was very kindly given to me by my friend Beth. Thank you so much, Beth. I will link to Beth's social media and her Etsy shop down below. She's a very talented costumer. I'm just always so excited when I get an old cookbook because they are so wild. But I try to find recipes in these that are doable at home. I don't think everyone is particularly interested in learning how to make a fish suspended in jelly, for instance. But if you are, I'll share the recipe from the book. The recipe I'll be making is griddle cakes with sour milk. It's my understanding that sour milk and modern buttermilk are quite similar. Buttermilk is a byproduct of making butter. I had this buttermilk left over from baking, and I figured why not try it with griddle cakes, which we might recognize nowadays as being pancakes. I do have a cast iron griddle, so I should be able to closely approximate the process. In addition to this griddle cakes with sour milk recipe, the book also has a recipe for sour cream griddle cakes. So I'll share the sour cream ones down below. It says for that recipe you can substitute the sour cream with buttermilk. So I'm not entirely sure what the difference is between sour cream, sour milk, and buttermilk. I'm just going to be using my buttermilk as a fill-in for any of those three options. How different can sour dairy possibly be? If you don't have sour milk, you can just add some vinegar or lemon juice to a cup of milk, let it sit for a few minutes, and that'll sour it. To start with, I have 1 1/4 cups of sifted flour. To that, I'm adding 2 teaspoons of baking powder and 1/4 teaspoon of salt. The instructions say to sift together the flour, salt, and baking powder. Stir 1/4 teaspoon of baking soda into the milk. Add the egg, beaten very light, and the melted butter, and stir into the dry ingredients. The recipe also says that if the sour milk be rich and creamy, butter may be omitted. I will always opt for extra butter in my recipes. This recipe made a very stiff batter, and it took a bit of elbow grease to get all the ingredients evenly mixed together. There we go. It's not exactly the consistency of modern pancakes. Maybe more mixing is necessary. If my modern pancake batter had this consistency, I would add some more water to it. Definitely feels more like a cake batter at this point than a pancake batter. Set by spoonfuls on a hot, well-oiled griddle. When bubbles appear throughout and the cake is well browned on the bottom, turn to brown the other side. Do not turn the cakes but once. And this is still a technique that we practice when making modern pancakes. You're only supposed to flip them once, lest you risk deflating the fluffiness of the pancake. This batter didn't spread as much on the griddle as a modern pancake batter would, but it did produce very tall and fluffy little cakes. Alright, so let's see how these taste. I've not put any butter or maple syrup on them because the instructions didn't tell me to, and I want to get some of the flavor without any additional flavorings. The texture of these is a bit mushy and gummy, and I believe that's probably just because they overcooked on the outside and didn't cook enough on the inside, so that was user error from my behalf. It's really hard to judge the heat of something like a griddle because things are browning very quickly on the outside but are quite spongy on the inside, or maybe it's just the texture from the buttermilk, I don't know. But we do get a nice crumb It's reminiscent actually of an English muffin in that it's tall enough almost to be split in half, and it's got a pretty decent crumb structure in there. Personally, I find plain pancakes to just be a little bit boring, and these are no exception. These pancakes got a great rise, so if you're looking for a soft and fluffy buttermilk pancake recipe, I think this is it. It was pretty easy to replicate. It didn't use any arcane ingredients. It was not that different from a modern pancake recipe in assembly. This is a hefty pancake, or griddle cake rather. It's quite tall. All it needs is a little bit of flavoring on top, like some honey or maple syrup or jam or butter, to just complement the texture and flavor of the griddle cake slash pancake. If you're looking for an original Victorian buttermilk pancake recipe, this is definitely the one to try. One tip I would give is to make them much smaller than we'd make normal pancakes. I think one of the reasons why these griddle cakes struggled to cook all the way through is that I tried adding more batter to the spoonful than was necessary. I think maybe a tablespoon or two is sufficient, because when they're this big, they just struggle to cook all the way through because they're so tall. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like down below, and please leave a comment if you have a historic recipe you'd like me to try. If you've ever made buttermilk pancakes or griddle cakes before and have any special tips or want to share your experience, I'd love to hear that as well. Thank you so much for watching, and thank you so much for supporting my channel.